Okay, so today is a very special video because today I have a dream Lego set of mine. Something that I never thought I would ever get, and I actually have it. And it's so big, I actually can't do it in my normal setup. I need to do it on the floor. As you can see, I have the Lego Ninjago City Gardens, and it's magnificent. Now, this is a used Lego set because the actual set, if you try to buy it now new from Lego, is $350, which is quite a lot of money. But with this one, I was able to get a really good deal on it, and it came with the box. Plus, the seller even gave me a free poly bag for free. Look, it's freaking Lloyd's robot mech dude. As you can see, the box is quite damaged. I mean, there's a gap right here. But I don't care. I already knew before I bought it that the box was damaged since the seller had pictures on their listing. I'm not really a box collector. I only really care about the Lego set on the inside. Okay, so it is time to finally open up this box, and let's just get straight into it. Okay, here we go. The seller was actually nice enough to bag all the pieces into numbered bags to make the building experience much better. They also included the instructions as well as the fan-made poster, which I did not think I was going to get, but that was a really nice touch. Yeah, I have a lot of building ahead of me, which is great. Now, even though this may look like I am building this Lego set at supersonic speeds, in actuality, I am building this thing incredibly slowly. Like extremely slowly. Like it took me days to build this set. However, regardless of all of that, I kept building on, late into the night. Okay, so it is the second day. As you can see, this is what I was able to get done yesterday. Basically like the base layer of the first level. And here we have a tree with a little bench here. I will say the bench has these two pieces that are connected to a staff piece, which is actually rubbing against this tree trunk right here. There's no clearance between the two of them. I don't think the plastic is stressing, but it is rubbing against it. So I thought I should mention that. And then one other thing I noticed is that these leaves here are held together by just a single clip, which I don't know if that's gonna last because it's basically just held together by friction. I feel like over time it'll just start sagging down, but I mean, it's holding up right now, so that's good. And birdie! And so on the second day, I continued my quest to finish building this Lego set. However, this will be the final time lapse in the video because I was too lazy to film the rest of the build, so the rest will now be just updates. So yeah. Okay, first building of the City Gardens complete. We have Ronin's smuggler shop. Alright, so now we are finally on the second level. Yes, we have the ice cream shop here. So construction is going well. Alright, so now we have the museum and these other buildings. We're basically on the final level, and I'm excited to see what's left because we're almost done. So, yeah. Okay, so I am building the arcade machine here, and there's actually one sticker that has been placed on the set. All the other stickers were already placed, so I get to put my first sticker onto the set for the set. Yeah, that's all. Okay, and as you can see, here is the final results. Now it's too big to actually show all of it on camera. I could push it back, but we're gonna talk about it in a couple of seconds anyway, so don't worry about that. And in case you were wondering, I did build Lloyd's mech. So, there you go. Okay, so now the set comes with a ton of minifigures, and there are even some minifigures that are technically part of the build, so they don't count, or maybe they do, who knows. Now, one thing I will say about the minifigures is that Jay has a flower that he wants to give to Nia. However, the flower ends up being quite difficult to place on his hand, and I ended up scratching it up. So if you're worried about scratching up your Lego pieces, you want to be careful with that flower. As for Scoop the construction robot, I love him, he's great, but when you put him on studs, his feet tend to pop out, so do be careful about that. And as a disclaimer, I already knew ahead of time, but there are some pieces that were missing on this set or in a different color, but as you can see, most of the pieces were here. However, unfortunately, I don't have the spoon for the ice cream vendor or the mechanic's weapon arm. One thing I will say about this is that in person, it is so much grander than I thought. I've seen a lot of videos on this set, but to actually have it here in person, it's very impressive. Now on the first level, you have water on the base, which is really beautiful. I'm very happy with how it looks, and building it was also pretty fun. The set comes with a little park that's separate from the city gardens, which you can remove, but it also comes with Zane's statue as a minifigure, but that's really cool because that's a reference to the reboot season. Now, I have experience with Lego minifigures being placed on studs for too long, because for me, a lot of them end up getting cracks on their heels, and so because I was nervous about that, I put this minifigure on those pieces where there's no studs. That's just a me thing, but that's why that's there. Now the entire set comes apart like a modular building so that you can look inside all the little details inside each building. Now there's a lot of details inside of them, which is really nice, but they are a little cramped for minifigures. The bottom level has 4 different buildings. You get Ronin's smuggler shop, 2 houses, and also a nice restaurant with only 1 table. So I assume business isn't doing too well if there's only 1 place to dine. Or maybe it's a to-go place. Now one thing I will say is that I was wondering how these minifigures were getting to the 2nd level on the 1st floor, because, you know, there's no stairs or elevators to do that. And then I realized that there's a flying moped. So that's probably how they get to those buildings. Now one cool thing about the bottom level is that if you remove all the buildings, there's actually details under there. Like under Ronin's shop, you get an Easter egg box, and then also a bunch of cool treasure that he keeps under his shop, which he can access through a hatch. Or how in the restaurant, if you remove that, you get a water pipe that leads to the sewage. So this set has a lot of cool details like that. Now behind the city gardens, there's a little island on there. This is a random beanie there, so hopefully whoever lost that gets that back. Now the front of the set comes with this really nice tree that looks great and has a little bench there for minifigures to sit on. However, I'm not too sure if using the tree as a actual support for the city is under civil engineering regulations, but it's holding up currently. Now I will say one of the rooms on the 1st level is a Ninjago fan. Okay, they have miniaturized Lego sets from Ninjago. They even have ninja bed sheets. I need to know where they get those. And they even have a flag on the outside of their building with Ninjago. I am sorry to all my Ninjago fans. I cannot believe I said Ninjago. Wow. Now you could say that could just represent the city of Ninjago, but considering how there's an actual ninja on there, I think they're really like the ninja. And they also have a safe under their bed. Just for your information. There's also just a massive hole on their floor, so probably don't want to fall through that. Now what's cool about this set is that each level has its own what I consider building style. So the buildings on the 1st level are built differently than, say, the ice cream shop here or even the museum. The 1st level uses hinges to create that angle on the buildings, which looks great. However, I will say when I was connecting the hinges, it does cause a very tiny stress mark on it, but I don't think it's going to affect the structural integrity of the set at all. Now the 2nd level is what I consider the shopping center of this set. You have an ice cream shop and also Mr. Chen's Noodle House. Now for Mr. Chen's Noodle House, the mascot they use in the show is represented with a minifigure in this set, but I would like to think that is just an actual person whose job is to come in every day and then just stand above the shop like that. As you can see on the 2nd level, there are a bunch of signs that are references to things in Lego. But I should mention that the entire set, all of the text is in Ninjago, which I don't understand, but thankfully the set does come with a translator in the 1st instruction manual so that I can understand if I wasn't lazy and actually wanted to know what all of this meant. One funny thing about the second level is that there's what I assume is just a table outside of Mr. Chen's Noodle House for guests to eat outside, but this is right next to a trash can, which I feel like diners would not be happy about. Like the trash can takes up one side of the table, so you can't even sit on like facing each other if you were sitting there eating. It could also be a bench, but I don't know, I think it's a table. The ice cream shop also has a lot of nice details, like in the back of it, there's just someone who dropped their ice cream cone, unfortunately. But there's also a staircase that leads to the third level, the museum. And the museum has a bunch of awesome details in it with a bunch of references to Ninjago. And there's also a play feature, which is that there are these posters on one side of the museum, and if you remove one of them and then remove the other one, you can have a robber steal something from the museum. Oh yeah, and by the way, there's also an apartment on this level where there's an artist who's painting the city gardens. Yeah, that's cool. And I'm going to include the top of the museum to the third level, even though it's aligned with the fourth level of the set. Since the top of the museum is part of the museum, it has a nice cherry blossom tree and then also a skeleton. Oh yeah, this is also my official first Destiny's Bounty. Sure, it doesn't store a minifigure, but it is Lego and it is a Destiny's Bounty, so that there's my first ever Lego's Destiny's Bounty. And then the fourth level, we have the flying moped that I mentioned before, which you can just have the robber escape on. And there's also a nice tea house with a safe in the back that stores something. I don't know what, but it does. And if you open up the roof of the tea house, there is actually a reference to the Tournament of Elements with the roller skates and helmet from that season. And then here is what is, I think, the ninja's hideout, but it looks a lot like Borg Tower, so I guess they were there for a little bit. Now, there aren't a lot of play features in this set. Most of them are in the ninja hideout, like with the movie poster, which you can swap out with different ones that are stored in the ninja hideout. There's also a ladder, which you can use a gear to move up and down, and it's smooth like butter. And for some reason, there's a criminal undercover behind it. Don't know why that's there. You also get an arcade machine that actually works, and that's really cool. The second level of the Ninja Hideout is where the movie posters are stored, and this is where you can store Jay's suit that comes in the set. The final level is just a really small command center where I guess the ninja can look at the rest of the city in case villains attack. Now I will say, I love this set. I think this set is great, but it's not perfect. There are some things that I don't like about it. One thing is with the building experience. For the most part, it was great, although my least favorite parts were definitely the plants, like the trees and all the other plants on the bottom here. They look great, don't get me wrong, but building them was just really tedious. One cool thing about the plants is that some of them just use weapon pieces as plants, which is a really cool use of pieces. And while the set looks great, I do feel like it's definitely more of a display piece than it is a play set, because there's not really much to do in it aside from most of it being in the ninja hideout. There's also a random 2x1 piece just sticking out of the base, and I'm not sure what it's there for, but it's there. The lights for the poster also get in the way when you're trying to move the ladder, so that's quite annoying. This set also comes with a fan poster, which I didn't think I was actually going to get, but the seller actually put it in there for me. So thank you, seller. So overall, I really like this set, and if you're a Ninjago fan, I would recommend picking it up. It is expensive though. It is still very expensive, but the build experience and the actual display piece is fantastic. Now, if you're looking for something to actually play with, this may not be the set for you, but it's a lot of cool references and it just looks great there. So yeah, overall, I like it. And with that, I'll see you all next time for whatever the next video is. Bye!